The family lunch. At a family lunch, Mom raised a glass to my sister and said, "She'll inherit everything. She'll give us the grandchildren you never will." Dad added, "You've always been more of a worker, not a legacy." No one mentioned the tuition I paid or the hospital bills I covered last month. I smiled quietly. That night, I stopped every money transfer. By Thursday, their insurance was canceled and tuition payments stopped. My sister called me 47 times. I didn't answer. "Raise your glasses," Mom said, voice sweet but sharp. "To Amelia, she'll inherit everything one day. She'll give us the grandchildren John never will." Dad nodded proudly, his ring tapping the glass. "You've always been the worker, son, but legacies aren't built on paychecks." Laughter rolled across the table. Forks clicked. I sat there, watching their smiles bounce off one another like practiced lines in a play. No one mentioned the months I'd covered the mortgage or the hospital bills that nearly broke me. When I opened my mouth, Dad sighed. "John, let's not start. You always make things so heavy." I pushed the food around my plate. Their words didn't sting anymore. They just left a dull ringing in my chest. But when Amelia leaned close and whispered, "Try smiling for once. You look like the waiter who didn't get tipped," something deep inside me shifted. I didn't argue. I just smiled. The quiet kind that says it's over now. "My name's John Keller, 27, the dependable one. If something breaks, I fix it. If someone forgets a bill, I pay it. They call me the practical son," which really means the disposable one. I used to think silence kept the peace. Now I know it just made me invisible. Every word at that lunch reminded me how small they'd made me feel. Not with shouting, but with easy laughter and the kind of love that kept score. Still, I wasn't angry yet, because there was something they didn't know. A truth I'd been carrying like a stone in my pocket, waiting for the right day to drop it. And maybe that day had finally come. The family parade. Mom. A woman who could turn guilt into an art form, her smile soft as a blade. Dad, loud, proud, always sure he's right even when he's standing on sand. And Amelia, the golden child. The girl who could spill wine on a white rug and somehow be praised for passion. That lunch, she tilted her head and said, "You work too much, John. Don't you ever want to live?" I laughed quietly. "I do. I just pay for other people's lives first." Dad frowned. "Always the martyr." Mom's voice followed. "You never learned how to relax? That's why you'll die single." They all laughed again, clinking glasses like a choir of approval. And for the first time, I didn't join in. I just watched, taking mental pictures of every smile I was never part of. When Mom said, "We only tease because we love you," I almost believed her, until I remembered the email I'd found last night, the one with my savings quietly rerouted into a new joint account under Amelia's name. I set my fork down. "Mom, Dad, quick question. Whose name is on that new account at First National?" Dad's brows pinched. "Why would you ask?" "Because my balance dropped by exactly the amount you borrowed last year." Amelia's laugh was thin. "John, you're so suspicious. It's exhausting." "Maybe," I said, "but it's also accurate." Mom's face tightened, like porcelain cracking from heat. For the first time all evening, no one spoke. Dad broke the silence. "You think money gives you power?" "No," I said. "It just shows me where I stand." Mom tried to reach across the table. "Sweetheart, don't twist things." I leaned back. "I'm not twisting anything. I'm just done pretending I don't notice." Amelia rolled her eyes. "Here we go again, the speech about respect." I smiled faintly. "Respect's easy. You give it or you don't." The air went still. Even the clinking stopped. For years, I'd swallowed their words, thinking one day they'd see me. That day, I stopped hoping. 2 winters ago, Dad landed in the hospital. I was the first one there, signing forms, draining my savings. Mom squeezed my hand and whispered, "You're our rock, John. We'll never forget this." They did. When I brought it up months later, she smiled kindly and said, "We thought you helped because you wanted to, not to keep a tally." That night, I walked home under falling snow, realizing I'd built a family out of IOUs. I promised myself, next time they reached for help, they'd find their own hands empty. Back at the table, Amelia's phone buzzed. Her screen lit up. A text from Dad. "Don't mention the sale until it's done." Sale? I caught her wrist gently, read the message, and froze. "Selling what?" I asked. No answer. I unlocked the phone. There it was, a real estate contract, my childhood home signed by both of them. Buyer, Amelia Keller, the same house I'd been paying taxes on for 3 years. I looked up. Dad's voice faltered. "You don't understand, son." "I understand perfectly," I said. "You sold my name right out from under me." No one moved. Mom's eyes filled with tears, but they were the kind that asked for mercy, not forgiveness. Dad muttered, "You're overreacting. It's just property." I stood slowly. "Then you won't mind if I take mine back." I pulled a folded paper from my jacket, the legal notice I'd filed last week, transferring ownership back to me until the fraud investigation closed. Their faces went pale. "I gave you silence for years," I said quietly. "Tonight I give you the truth." By Thursday, the accounts linked to my name were closed, insurance canceled, tuition payments stopped. For the first time, my phone stayed silent, except for Amelia's calls. 47 in 2 days. Dad texted once, "You'll regret this," but I didn't. I sat on my small balcony that night, listening to rain hit the railing. It sounded like freedom. Uneven, soft, but real. A week later, I drove past their house. A for sale sign leaned in the front yard. Through the window, I saw empty walls, the same walls that once held every word that cut me down. I rented a quiet place near the lake. Mornings are slower now. I make coffee, paint again, breathe. Sometimes I think about them, about whether they ever realized that silence can be love, and love can still leave. For the first time, I whispered to myself, I don't carry their weight anymore. If you were in John's place, would you forgive or walk away forever? Everyone carries a version of this story, a place where family became heavy instead of home. Sometimes strength isn't shouting back, it's walking away without bitterness. If John's story reached you, like it to show you've survived something similar. Comment what you would have done. Subscribe for more stories of betrayal, healing, and quiet courage.